डॉक्टर बाबा साहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
ડૉક્ટર બાબા સાહેબ આંબેડકર ઓપન યુનિવર્સિટીમાં આપનું સ્વાગત છે. આજે આપણે એનાલોગ અને ડિજિટલ કમ્પ્યુટર વિશે જાણીશું. વિલ સી વોટ ઇઝ ધેટ ઓલ અબાઉટ. સો વોટ ઇઝ એનાલોગ કમ્પ્યુટર? ધ કમ્પ્યુટર that performs analog signals are known as analog computers. Analog signal is a continuous signal. For example, sine wave is the analog signal. The analog quantities are based on decimal number system. Examples of analog computers are slide rule, abacus, etc. The operational amplifier are widely used in the construction of analog computers. When the analog electrical signal is to be processed, for example, differentiator is an operational amplifier circuit that differentiates input signals. So, what is all about analog and what is all about digital? Let us see what is that all about. When we say analog computer, analog basically is something like 0 to 10, but it is having some variable quantities. So, if this signal is there, then we can say that this is something like analog. Any number between 0 to 10 or something like that, no, is possible at some level, right. So, at some level some values would be there through which it will be identified. So, in this way 0, 1, 2 different levels would be there. Whereas, when we talk of digital, then digital computer is something like only two states, either 0 or 1. In this way things are operating. So, if it is 0, then I would say this is 0 here, this is 1 here, this is 1 here, somewhere here 0. So, in this way zeros and ones could be possible. So, only two states are there. So, when a computer system is designed using digital sort of things, then we can say it is a digital computer. Whereas, the computer system which is designed to be of abacus type, slide rule type, then it is referred to it as analog. To handle the analog data with so much levels 0 to 10 and again between 0 to 1 itself, no, if you see 0 to 1 itself, there is something like 0.1, 0.2 and so on. So, different levels would be there, and this makes the analog computer bit difficult to handle different states of the for the information. Whereas, when we talk of digital computers, only two states, zeros and 1. So, it is very easy to say that if it is this, if there is you are at some state A and if you want to move to B, then only 0 or 1 are the only possibilities. So, if it is 0, it is this direction movement, and if it is 1, it is this direction movement. So, only two possible states are there. So, from one state where some information is processed, and this information after processing we need to take it forward to this some another level, then either 0 or 1 is sufficient enough for us to do the processing. In that case, digital computer plays very important role, and it becomes much more easier for us to handle the processing part, right. So, if you see what is digital computer, on the other hand, digital computer that process digital signals are known as digital computers. The digital signal is a discrete signal. So, only two states are possible, 0 and 1. It has two states, 0 and 1. In practice, the digital computers are presently used and not the analog one. So, as of now in the current market, no, we do not have any analog computer operationally, right. So, we have only digital computers in place, wherein only two states are possible, 0 and 1, and that is why we say that binary number system is going to be very much useful to us when we work with computer systems, whereas decimal number systems are, it could be prepared, it was initially prepared, but subsequently it was digital computers were found to be more better and more easier and more easier to handle rather than analog computers. That is why digital took over the entire market and the development took place. So, examples of digital computers are personal computers, supercomputers, mainframe computers, etc. So, there are even many. So, your laptops, palm tops, your mobile devices, all of this, all of these gadgets, whatever we see, even including cameras and all of these are making use of digital systems in place. So, digital systems, when we say, it is zeros and ones, right. So, what do we mean by supercomputer? Before we go into this, let us see how the systems are going to be there. Let us say computer system as of now is having CPU, and this CPU, because of the technological development which took place with the ICs, no, we are now having recently multi-core CPUs. So, instead of only having one CPU earlier, now we are having multiple CPUs, CPU number 1, 2, 3 and 4. In this way 4 core CPUs are there. So, i5, i6, i7, whatever the processors which are available in the market as of now, these are known as multi-core CPUs. And when we talk of CPUs, CPU is having multiple things. No, when we say CPU is there, CPU, this could be multi-core CPU, it would be requiring some input devices, it could be requiring some output devices, and it will be also requiring some memory, and in that way things are going to be there. So, I input device, output device and some memory. When we talk of this, no, there are going to be some common lines between each of this, right. So, input is going to be given to this, output is going to be there. Within this there could be registers and various buses which will be required, buses for interconnecting various peripheral devices with the CPU and so on. So, in that by and large there are 3 buses available with the any of the microprocessor. So, that those buses are address bus, data bus and control bus. Control bus sometimes no, it is all misleading, but sometimes no, some books will say it is control lines like read, write, IO read, IO write, memory read, memory write and so on. So, there are various control signals available for different purposes, and address bus basically will be what? Let us say address bus will be something like when we want to refer to any of the location of the memory, there are multiple memory locations 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So, if I say I am having 4 GB of RAM, so 4 GB of memory will be requiring some addressing mechanism. So, that no, this particular memory location could be pointed uniquely. So, if I want to address this, so how many bits would be required? Approximately 2 to the power 32, somewhere around 32 bits would be required to address uniquely 4 GB of RAM. So, 32 bit address. So, 32 bit address. So, 32 lines, 32 wires would be required to the CPU. So, that no, the CPU can generate the appropriate address bits. So, that the appropriate memory location, unique memory location could be identified, and the contents then after could be further submitted to the registers or maybe could be brought into the IO buffers and so on. So, the point is there are various buses available with the CPU through which it is going to interact. So, this is how digital computer is going to operate, fine. So, let us not forget there are as of now i5, i6, i7, these are the processors are having multi-core CPUs. Earlier it was only one CPU, and all the programs which were there, all the programs were executed in sequence. So, sequential execution, CPUs are always executing the instructions in sequence. So, whatever the instruction number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever is there, it is going to be executed in sequence, and otherwise anyway the CPUs are designed to work in that way, right. So, the overall development took place in such a way that there are various flavors of computer systems of digital type have been in place, and different agencies have designed their own supercomputers and different type of computers for their own usage. So, first of that category, which is the fastest one, is supercomputer. Supercomputers are the most powerful computer in terms of in terms of speed of execution and large storage capacity. So, storage capacity also increased, the speed of execution also increased, and using that no, it has been found that no, it has been useful in various places. NASA uses supercomputers to track and control space exploration. So, when we are having satellite data to process with, no, or to maybe to collect the information from the space, we need to send a robot, and no, once the synchronization is done, data would be downloaded and will be stored into the storage device. Then the processing starts, and when there is lot of data available per every second, no, data is made available from the satellite, from the radar systems, through the radar systems to the supercomputer earth stations, right, and this data has to be processed. So, that is why no, it requires the usage of supercomputers, and NASA is using it very efficiently. Likewise, even in the Indian ISRO organizations, no, where the scientific organizations are there, they are also making use of this type of data and the computing machines in a very nice way. Sometimes no, it could be a clustered also. It is not like independent machine which is going to work, it could be a set of machines which are operating on a common task. So, in that way the designs have been modified. So, mainframe computers altogether is a different set of computers have the capacity next to the supercomputers and the mainframe computers are multi-terminal computers which can be shared simultaneously by multiple users. So, unlike personal computers, mainframe computers offer time sharing. So, we have seen what is time sharing, what is batch processing, we have seen what is real time systems and all. So, this is a combination of real time systems, time sharing systems, and as well because it's going to have multiple terminals, and that was the feature which was made available with the mainframe computers. So, mainframe computers are almost similar to that of supercomputers. Even your laptops, whatever we are using as of now. So, if you go back 20-30 years back, and if you see those machines, no, you are almost using the same power which is available in your laptop, right. So, nowadays the supercomputer terminology has gone far beyond what the laptop is processing, but laptop has been now made smart enough and capable enough to do a lot of processing activities at the local level itself. So, example of some applications for mainframe computers are insurance companies use mainframe computers to process information about millions of policy holders and all. So, when lot of such type of data is available, a normal machine may not be fine enough to handle the data. So, instead we need to go with some high end machines, right. So, these high end machines basically are classified under the category of supercomputers or mainframe computers. So, there is another category called mini computers. These computers are also known as mid range computers. These are desk size machines. So, whatever the machines that we are using as of now, the desktop machines, now we can say it is mini computer. These computers are used in medium scale applications. For example, production department use mini computers to monitor various manufacturing processes and assembly line operations. So, at different levels, if you want to sense the output, what is going on at different level of the production line or at different locations. We use such type of machines to observe those things, the errors, or maybe the production is going on properly or not, and so on. So, at such type of places, this type of computing machines could be very much useful to us, right. So, these are till now what we have seen is supercomputer, mainframe computer, mini computer. Subsequently, there is something like microcomputer also. As compared to supercomputers, mainframes and mini computers, the microcomputers are least powerful, but these are very commonly used and fastest growing computers. So, our machines, even our machines, whatever we say desktop or the laptops, we can say it is microcomputers, both having almost very thin line between the micro and mini, but as such these are going to be in use, and we are using it successfully for different sorts of applications at lower level, fine. So, a personal machine is the term, these are the various terminologies which are basically required for the fundamental part. So, that is why we are discussing this. So, personal computer is the term related to the computer that is designed for use by a single person. So, when we are having a machine with us, then in that case the single user is going to operate it. That is why the name personal came into existence, personal computing, right. So, otherwise there is no much difference, either it is micro or mini, both means the same thing, right. PC are also, personal computers are also called microcontrollers, because these are smaller as compared to mainframe and mini computers. So, there is actually computing is done and microcontrollers came into existence. Now, what is microcontroller? So, CPU by default is a microcontroller, 8085, 8086, all these are microcontrollers, and within this the CPUs are actually coming. Like, let us say an applications of microcontroller, I would say washing machine is an application of a microcontroller, wherein some hardwired circuitry, hardwired program is prepared, and that is embedded into that particular microcontroller, and once that microcontroller is powered on, the execution of that CPU will start, or that microcontroller will start. So, basically your CPU is nothing but a microcontroller. So, when we talk of all this type of stuff, it is basically microcontrollers only. Washing machine, your Tata Sky, whatever you say, your set top boxes, your refrigerators, these are all now, even the vehicles like cars, advanced cars which are there, all of these automotive vehicles are also part of now these microcontrollers, and your microcontroller records every information whatever you are doing, based upon the program that is written inside that microcontroller. It is going to operate. At the same time, it will also keep track of, it will log all the activities of the particular system. So, at what time this machine was operated, what time the car was made on, what is the actual reason behind the breakdown of this particular car, and all this such type of informations are also logged into the memory which is there inside the microcontroller. So, microcontroller is nothing but a CPU itself with some memory within that, and there would be Now, how to write a program into the microcontroller, right. So, there are microcontroller softwares which are there based upon the microcontroller. The Atmel is one of the company, which is providing microcontroller. So, within the Atmel range of microcontrollers, there is a Atmel software which they are providing, through into which we are writing the code, which is nothing but a high level language code, and that code, or maybe even assembly level language code also could be written, and that code would be then stored into the microcontroller. So, when you power on the particular microcontroller, it will start operating the instructions, executing the instructions which are stored inside the microcontroller. So, in that way the systems are operating. So, when we talk of personal computers, even in our personal computers, we are having the BIOS IC. So, BIOS IC basically is nothing but basic input output services, right. So, this is the ROM, particularly read only memory, which is also hardwired, and we are storing the information into that particular ROM. Hardwired, or I would say it is the information is stored at the manufacturer level itself, right. So, it could be electrically erasable programmable read only memory, mostly it will be like that only, and through the software interface, whatever has been provided by the controller, that ROM would be programmed and that information will be stored. So, normally what happens is, when you switch on the system, that program is stored inside the ROM. When the power is made available, it will start checking whether the connected peripheral devices to me are proper or not, whether the keyboard is okay or not, whether the mouse is proper or not, whether the monitor is proper or not, whether the RAM connected to me is proper or not. In that way, all the components whatever are there, all these components will be checked one by one, because it is basic input output services. No, BIOS IC will check all these particular resources whatever are connected as part of the CPU, and once everything is found to be okay, then it will sound a beep, small beep, and then once that beep is available, that indicates to the user that everything is fine. Now, the operating system is going to be loaded, and once the operating system is available to the system, the panel is available, user can use the devices for doing some activities, like you can use keyboard, mouse and other things for doing various functions, processing within that. So, in that way the microcontrollers are there, and within that microcontrollers, it basically personal computer is nothing but a microcontroller with some CPUs into it, right. The term PC is often used to refer the desktop, and although PCs are used by individuals, they can also be used in the computer networks. So, when we talk of computer networks, that means multiple machines are connected together. Multiple PCs are connected together, each of them would be having some unique addresses given to it, and this addresses would be in the form of internet addresses, right. And internet addresses are nothing but it is following the TCP/IP protocol suite, right. So, what is TCP/IP protocol suite? There are 5 layers, 7 layers as such: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link and physical. So, in that way the layers are there, and each of them are having different roles to perform. Through this particular protocol stack, the network between the different machines are bound, and they follow this common protocol suite, so that the exchange of data can take place from one machine to the other, and so on. So, it could be various terminology, various topologies like LAN, WAN, MAN, in that way, local area network, wide area network, metropolitan area network and so on. Depend upon the size of the machines that we are connected, we are interested to connect to the particular system to form a network, that network size can be changed, right. So, although the PCs are used by individuals, they can also be used in the computer networks. So, that is how the PCs have explored, have been in use at different places for different applications, right. Like the same time, we can even say that PCs could be used together to form a cluster, and cluster would be done, cluster means a group of machines designed to work together with a common platform, and once the user data is submitted to the cluster will automatically adjust that who is free and who is not free, and data would be processed by different locations, and then altogether a collective information will be then submitted to the user, saying that this is the output of your particular requested information. So, in that way cluster formation also would be done with the help of machines. So, as of now, personal computer is no more personal, it is basically used in different ways, so that the user processing activities could be carried out. So, by and large we know what is now computer system. It is going to have some input device, some output device, some storage devices, that is what the block diagram I have shown you earlier. So, input devices could be keyboard, mouse, there is something like output device, there is something like storage devices, there is something like processor. This is basically a cabinet. This is a cabinet, and within that there is a printed circuit board, motherboard what we call it as, and onto the motherboard there is a CPU. There are specifications available for the motherboards of different types, and we need to look into those specifications for more details. But however, there will be RAM slots, there would be some input output interface slots, some multimedia extension slots, monitor controllers and all, which will be there as part of the CPU. So, only CPU is not there inside the box, it is there are multiple things which are there, including BIOS IC, your battery and number of other things, right. And the output devices are printer and so on. There are various categories of output devices which we will be looking little later. But yes, storage devices if you talk of, then earlier we used to have floppy disk, we used to have even CD. Nowadays we do not use CDs and all. Nowadays it has been converted to USBs and all. So, USB is the storage medium for transferring the data as of now, right. So, this is also storage for input output devices. No, memory is also considered to be IO device as of now, right. So, there is a control panel altogether on the top of the system, through which you can observe that whether the system is on or off and so on. On the back side of the CPU, there is a panel where the connectors would be available, onto which we are connecting the various devices like keyboard, mouse and other peripheral devices like printer and so on. So, as of now if you see this is a wireless keyboard, this is a wireless mouse which is there. So, once we need to have an antenna of that. So, that USB antenna would be inserted on the back side of the panel, through which it will be receiving the signals, wireless signals, and will be communicating to the particular CPU for doing different activities like your mouse pointer locations, your keyboard hit values and so on to be processed, and then it will be appropriately displayed onto the monitors or whatever. If you want to save something, it will be saving the information, it will be opening the files and restoring the information and so on, right. So, number of things are possible with various devices with the as part of the computer system. So, altogether this is something like computer system, but yes, the heart of the system is the CPU. So, if the CPU is powerful enough, then you can do lot of things, and if the CPU is of lower capacity, you cannot do fast processing. Instead, you will have some delays within that. So, if there is something like 8-bit processor, then only 8-bit data could be processed. If I say my processor is of 16-bit, then 16-bit data, I am talking of 16-bit data lines, right. So, 16-bit data would be processed simultaneously. There is the same 16-bit data, if I need to process with the 8-bit, it will take double amount of time. So, in that way, the number of bits inside the system, it dominates the performance of the system, right. So, if it is a 16-bit machine, faster, it is double the capacity as far as speed is concerned compared to 8-bit. If I say 32-bit processor, it is still doubling the capacity of data processing. If I say 64-bit processing capacity, then 64-bit of data will be processed at a time, at a single clock pulse, in a single clock hit. There will be 64-bit of data which will be processed inside the inside the CPU. And when I say 64-bit data, that means your internal architecture also has to be of 64-bit. So, your register which is going to store this information zeros and ones, which is nothing but one register is one, if I say 64-bit register, then it is nothing but 64 flip flops which are storing your 64 bits into the register. So, when I say there are registers available with the CPU, then if I am more number of registers inside the CPU, more amount of data could be stored inside the CPU, and lot of activity could be done in a faster way. That is why the concept of cache came into existence. Now, using this concept, lot of now whatever the data which is really expected to be with the system at during the execution of a program, that particular data will be available inside the cache. If not required inside the cache, it will be stored inside the main memory, that is your RAM, and if it is still not required, it will be stored into the hard disk. So, in that way there is some hierarchy which is there in terms of speed of memory access. So, sequential storage, your data is stored inside the hard disk, your or the auxiliary memory, data is brought into inside the RAM. From the RAM, it is brought inside the cache memory, and from the cache it is loaded into the registers of the CPU, and registers are accessed by the CPU, right, directly accessed by the CPU. Inside the architecture of the CPU it remains, right, and that is how it becomes faster. So, everything whatever has to be processed, everything has to be brought from the hard disk to the register for processing. Unless and until the data is not brought inside the register, so that the CPU can work with, things are not going to be processed, right. So, however, it is taken care of by the operating system to make sure that the various pages whatever are requested, the pages will be brought into it and will be loaded, will be stored into inside the RAM and from that it will be loaded into the cache, and cache basically blocks would be transferred from the main memory to the cache memory, and from the cache memory one by one the lines will be read and will be submitted to the CPU for processing. In that way things are going to be executed, right. So, what is desktop? These are the most commonly used personal computers. It comprises of keyboard, mouse and monitors and system unit. We have seen all these things in detail. The system unit is also known as cabinet or chassis, right. It is the container that houses most of the components such as motherboard, disk drives, ports, switch mode, power supply, add-on cards and etc. So, like SMPS, switch mode power supply. So, it is basically responsible for providing various type of voltages. So, plus 5, minus 5, plus 12, minus 12 ground, these are the signals, these are the voltage levels which will be generated by the switch mode power supply. So, basically it is switching internally, there is a circuitry which through which and inside the cabinet there is a box basically responsible to generate these power supplies, and these power supply cables would be as an outcome of this particular SMPS, and which will be then plugged into the particular motherboard and at different places like drives and so on. So, all the components whatever are there onto the CPU, all of this requires basically power supply, whether somewhere it requires plus 5, whether it requires plus 12, whatever the power supply is required, those power supplies would be provided by the switch mode power supply unit, and basically there would be cables coming out with the socket, and that socket we need to insert to the appropriate locations, right. And add-on card facility is also there. So, if I want to extend my 4 GB RAM to 16 GB RAM, then there would be some free slots available for RAM also. So, this type of free slots which are there on the motherboard are known as add-on slots, right. Add-on cards would be inserted basically on those locations. So that you can use that particular slots for different activities. Likewise, earlier we used to have multimedia extension slots. So, PCI Express slots. So, as of now we are having PCI Express card slot which is available for NVIDIA graphics card. So, earlier it was not there, but now it is there. So, different card technologies came into existence, and because of that the add-on cards needs to be there, add-on slots needs to be kept reserved for future applications, right. Whatever is required anyway we are using it, but additionally 1 or 2 extra slots would be available for different applications as per the request of the user. The desktop computers are available in 2 modes, horizontal mode and the tower mode. So, when I say horizontal mode, that means your cabinet is in this direction, is slipping in this direction, and when I say in the vertical mode, your cabinet is in the vertical direction. So, there are 2 modes in which your motherboards could be placed, one is horizontal, another is vertical. It depends upon the type of cabinet. It is basically cabinet, nothing else, right. એ પતરાની વસ્તુ છે જેની અંદર આપણે એને હાઉસિંગ કરેલું છે સ્ક્રૂઝથી કે કેબિનેટ ને મધરબોર્ડ ને આમ રાખવું કે આમ રાખવું. Even though the cabinet is of horizontal type, if we can keep it on in the vertical form, then also it is not going to create any problem. However, drives જ્યારે અંદર કનેક્ટેડ હોય, CD drives ને બધું હોય, તો then we need to be little bit careful કે CD ને તમે માઉન્ટ કેવી રીતે કરશો, ઊંધી તો ના મુકાય ને. So, we need to make sure that the horizontal હોય તો પછી CD drive કેવી રીતે લગાડો તમે. So, appropriately you have to make sure that the appropriate properly usage થાય, directions any maintain કરીએ. However, nowadays we are having external drives, external CD drives, external DVD drives and all, through which all these type of problems could be resolved. So, that your cabinet could be placed either horizontally also, it could be placed vertically also, it does not matter, right. So, laptops is another category of the computing power. Laptops are also called notebook computers. These are the portable computers. They have a size of 8.5 by 11 inch and weight of about 8 pounds. There is another category of palm tops. Palm tops are also called handheld computers. These are the computing devices small enough to fit in your hand. The size of palm top is like an appointment book. It is something like if nowadays we are using mobile device. So, these mobile devices can very easily be said to be of palm top type. Even though if we talk of this mobile device, it is all in the range of gigahertz. The speed of these particular machines are in the range of gigahertz. So, it is far more better compared to the previous desktops which we used to use before 10 years, right. So, almost same computing power is available as of now with the mobile devices itself, right. NVIDIA Quadro and all, they are smart enough to prepare the machines in such a way that it's faster enough, and it's giving you the computational capacity which earlier 10 years back now, which was available in the desktop machines, is now available in the, even in the mobile devices, right. So, the palm top also falls in that category, which is almost like a handheld device, and you can note down certain things and process it. The palm tops are generally kept for personal use, such as taking notes, developing list of friends, keeping track of dates, agendas, etc. So, it is all earlier now we used to have even pagers, right, and some such device came into existence where no digital diary sort of thing. We used to have a keyboard, small keyboard, and then we used to store the phone details and all of different users or friends, no, all such type of things we were using earlier. All those devices can be classified into the category of palm tops, right. The palm tops can also be connected to PC for downloading data. So, whenever no we need to access this information, whatever we are storing, it is not it may be lost or it may be stolen, whatever the things, the data would be lost in that case, right. So, we need to periodically make sure that no our data is made safe to be at one place. So, that no in that case we need to download the information. So, that facility is always available with all the computing devices. So, you just need to connect the cables, and through that interface software, once it is connected and the device is identified, then you need to just download the contents from that particular memory to the corresponding other memory of the PC, right. So, when I am talking of this downloading of data and all, it is very important to understand that any device can be recognized by the operating system, because ultimately operating system plays a very major role while when the devices are connected to the system, right. So, every device the manufacturer of the device is supposed to prepare a device driver, and that device driver basically is going to control that particular device. So, whatever the commands are there, it could be only be executed once that device is successfully identified and the operations are valid operations onto that particular device. So, device drivers needs to be there in place, and device manufacturers are supposed to provide the appropriate device drivers for all the operating systems in place. Let us say if it is Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 10, whatever is there, appropriately the device driver has to be prepared by the manufacturer for different operating systems. Likewise, for Unix flavors also. So, it could be Linux, Anaconda, Ubuntu, whatever. So, for different operating system, device drivers has to be prepared by the device manufacturer, and once that is available appropriately, once the sync has been done by the OS, that the device is identified and device driver is installed, then the pairing that pairing is done, and then subsequently you can always transfer the data from one location to the other. It is not like only the data would from the device will be transferred to the PC. It is equally possible that your content from PC will be loaded to that particular device. So, both way it is possible, right. So, appropriately the information and the coding has to be done by the device driver and manufacturers. So, it provides value added features such as voice input, internet, cell phone, camera, movie player and GPS. So, as of now if you see your mobile device, it is providing almost all of this. Your microphone is there. So, voice input, it can recognize the voice input and can do the processing. It is always most of the time we are keeping our internet on in your devices. So, internet is there, cell phone, we can always make a phone call to the user of your choice. Cameras are there for different resolutions. Movie players are there, so that we can watch different movies into that palm top devices, and even the GPS. So, that the location tracking could be done if we are visiting at some place. Let us say if you are visiting Simla, then you need to explore what is Simla all about and what are the nearest places all about, and so based upon your current location you can even check what is the distance from Simla to Rohtak and from Simla to Yumthang, Lachung, whatever the locations, nearby locations are there. If you want to visit all these places, then you need to have your GPS on, so that your current position could be identified by the tracker, and then it can show you various places where to go and how to go, right. So, different types of applications are there in the devices, and with all these different type of hardware devices even in place, we can it is very much easier for the human beings to explore different possibilities inside it with this, right. So, personal digital assistance is also there. PDA is the palm type computer. It combines pen input, writing recognition, personal organizational tools and communication capabilities in a small package. So, PDAs is something like if you want to note down certain information, then it is we can note down those information and you can record it and subsequently you can use it. So, these are the various things which are there, and finally, we can talk of various applications of the computer. Today's age is described as computer age. The computer based applications are being widely used in almost all fields. Some of the fields are mentioned below where computers are invariably used. Healthcare and insurance sector, it is very heavily used. Research and development, without machines research cannot be possible. Defense and security sectors, because now if you talk of research, we need to explore different work done by different authors, and now we need to Google it out and explore various libraries for the contributions that they have done. So, that is why it is required. Defense and security sectors, at the same time implementation and development of the algorithm is also important. Defense and security sectors, airlines and aviation sector, educations where the ERP sort of tools would be available, effective teaching methodologies to be developed and all. So, school, college, universities, media and film sectors, government, for government if you talk of population assessment, taxes, collection, police, defense, everywhere it is used. Medicine, manufacturing of medicines and surgery through robotic applications. Agriculture is basically composition of fertilizers and all. Industry, if you talk of, everywhere it is there, design, shipping, process control. If you talk of home, communication, business work at home, school work, entertainment, finances. Business, if you talk of specifically, it is decision support, wherein basically data mining applications would be used very heavily to identify what is the knowledge of the particular set of information. Business information systems. So, various places are there where we see that today the computer has penetrated at almost all the levels at the micro level, and now we are able to do lot of advantage. We are able to get lot of advantage from this particular small box, that is computer, right. And let us sum up what we have seen till now. Computer is an electronic device that processes data and converts into an information that is useful to the people. Basically, there are two types of computers, analog and digital. Most of the users use digital computers. Computers designed for use by single person are desktop computers, workstation, notebook, tablets and handheld computers. The term personal computer or microcomputer can be used when referring to any computer meant for use by a single person. Computer, basically desktop computer, is the most common type of personal computer. Workstation is the specialized single user computer that typically has more power and features than the desktop. Notebooks are the full featured PCs that can be easily carried away. Laptops are also called notebook computers. These are the portable computers. They have a size of 8.5 by 11 inch and weight of about 8 pounds. Palm tops are also called handheld computers. These are the computing devices small enough to fit in your hand. PDA is the palm type computer. It combines pen input, writing recognition, personal organizational tool and communication capabilities in a small package, and the computer based applications are being widely used in almost all the fields, including education, industry, agriculture, medicine and at different other places. Thank you.